Hey, we're here with Max and Michael from the Arkells. Thanks so much for taking the time, guys.
Our
Appreciate
pleasure.
it. Listen, new management, new label, new record. It's been a bit of a whirlwind the last, year and a half?
Yeah, it's been a busy time for us.
How did it all come together? I mean, how did going from Jackson Square and the great success you had with that record to Michigan Left, how did it all come together?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the records are similar in that we were trying to make songs that are fun to sing along to and that are fun to see live.
Yeah.
I think the big differences between the two is just the bands that we're listening to in 2010, 2011 compared to the bands that we were listening to in 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
And our ears have been open to a lot of new music, and so that's sort of the main difference. Sonically, it sounds different, and there's
Yeah.
bands like Fleetwood Mac and Hall & Oates who we didn't really know much about in
Right.
2007
Yeah,
for
yeah.
whatever reason, but now we kind of love them. So there's those influences are there.
You usually have your whole life. I mean, in your case, you had your whole life to make the EP and then the record, but you didn't have that much time to make Michigan Left, and then you have all these new influences like Fleetwood Mac and you could hear Hall and Oates
For sure.
right off the top, right? I mean, it's there. Were you thinking about these songs when you were on the road with Jackson Square, and were you writing this stuff?
Yeah, it was definitely a process that it wasn't like we toured for 2 years and then had 2 weeks to sit down and write a record. It was like a lot of the songs like Coffee have been around for a long time. Like we probably played that one first.
Yep.
In one form or another a couple of years ago. So and anybody who's been out to the shows in the last year or so has seen us sort of road test a bunch of those songs.
Right.
So, it hasn't been too much of a rushed process. We've been able to, whenever we've been home, had time to sit down and write one or two more songs, sort of thing.
That's the magic of the Arkells, right? The live performance and having everybody get involved with the song, whether it's with everybody on stage or everybody on the audience. That's really the magic of this band. Is it hard to harness that and make a record in a studio?
No, I mean, what we try to do is just learn from the greats. And, I think going into this record, we had a lot of questions as to like how this would make sense, how these songs would make sense in the studio. But we're really, I think students of the game, and we see how other bands arrange their songs. And, when it comes to pop songwriting, it's a real craft, and it's actually a much harder thing to do than we thought. And so we spent a lot of time laboring over these songs to make sure that they felt really good to listen to with your headphones on. And then that's the first step. And the second step is figuring out how we want to play them live. So they have their incarnation on record, and then live we'll be able to add different things to them.
The record was self-produced, right?
Yeah, Dan and our band produced it.
Dan and the band produced it, and you produced it at, I guess, the Hip Studio, right?
Yeah.
And I guess that's all part of being on with Eggplant now, is that you have access to that studio, and then you have
yeah, we got the family rate.
Yeah.
It's a little cheaper.
And Kathleen Edwards makes an appearance too, which
Yeah.
doesn't help that she's part of the group too, right?
Yeah, we wanted to, as I said, we were trying to rip off Fleetwood Mac as best as we could
Yeah.
in that particular part of the song, and we said we need a female vocal somewhere in
And
there.
Stevie wasn't available.
Stevie was our first choice.
Right.
Sorry, Kathleen. No, but Kathleen's a friend of ours, and she was more than happy to do it, and we were
Right.
totally thrilled.
10 tracks. The record tracks in just under 36 minutes. I mean, I listened to the song. I listened to the record like 8 times. You don't even notice that it's going by so fast. I mean, that's really the pace of this, right? Was that intentional?
Yeah, there's a real economy to writing like a pop song, right? And I think that was something important to us, that we were, we'd be jamming the songs, and we'd listen back, and then we said, do we really need to vamp on that verse, 4 times in a row? How about we just do it once? And live, we might vamp on it 4 times in a row.
Right.
But for a record, it's like, I think, for this particular record, we weren't trying to make something that was drawn out or something that was a little more abstract. We specifically were trying to craft songs that were maybe 3.5 minutes long and that were really fun to listen to in your car, or to listen to when you're walking down the street,
Right.
or throwing on a party. And there's some songs you can listen to when you're falling asleep. But we really focused on having good economy to the songs.
Good upbeat song, and lots of crossover potential. I mean, you're at rock radio now, but there's no reason why some of these songs couldn't hit hot AC.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, we'll take it. Hot AC, we're coming for you. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how we fit in with Rihanna, but if she wants to collaborate,
there
I
you
guess
go.
we're okay
You're
with that.
down.
Coldplay did, I guess.
So many Southern Ontario references, whether it's Kiss Cam, where you probably reference the Sky Dome or the J Game, and there's the 401, the 402, and the 403, your hometown of Hamilton. I mean, you guys are Southern Ontarians through and through. Will this forever be home for you guys?
Well, it definitely is our home, but
Yeah.
A lot of the references on the record, because there's so many stories being told in the lyrics,
Yeah.
they help provide a setting, I think, for a lot of the characters.
Right.
Like, there is a lot of references to Southern Ontario because a lot of the characters sort of have their home here, but
Right.
there's some references to, Virginia or areas in the United States
Yeah.
and other sorts of settings that serve that story.
Right. So what's next? You're obviously on tour. I mean, you're one of these bands that has to do 200 dates a year, right?
Do we?
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah, we are going on a tour. We're leaving on November the 2nd, and we're going all the way across the country and coming back. And we're going to be doing a whole bunch of more dates in the spring of next year. So
Right.
winter, spring of next year. So that's definitely what's next up, bringing the songs out on the road.
Cool. Well, continued success, guys, and thanks for
Thank
stopping
you.
by, and thanks for Michigan Laughs. Great record.
Yeah, pleasure.
Thanks.